New Amsterdam is about a new medical director breaks the rules to heal the system at America's oldest public hospital.
Billing above care, you will be terminated. So,
Dr. Max Goodwin is brilliant, charming, and the new medical director at America's oldest public hospital. While he's set on tearing down the bureaucracy to provide exceptional care, the doctors and staff are not so sure. They've heard this before, and no one else has delivered on those promises.
how many of those have you worked with?
5 in 5 years.
Let's be doctors. Again.
Not taking no for an answer, Max disrupts the status quo and proves he will stop at nothing to breathe new life into this understaffed, underfunded, and underappreciated hospital, the only one in the world capable of treating Ebola patients, prisoners from Rikers Island, and the President of the United States all under one roof, and return it to the glory that put it on the map. Inspired by Bellevue in New York City. Sean Murphy, a young surgeon with autism and savant syndrome, is recruited into the surgical unit of a prestigious hospital. I just started watching it recently, and watched every episode available twice. I like the main actor, and having seen him in other roles, to then take on the role of an ASD really shows his range and talent. He has done an excellent job of emulating the speech patterns and mannerisms of a person with autism. The actual episode content itself reminds me of House, another show I used to enjoy quite a lot. I especially enjoyed the show exploring his interpersonal life by starting a romance with his neighbor. Really, I can't think of much the show does wrong, and if you are into the genre, I think you will find it very enjoyable.
Skills in several areas.
It's his heart. The board wouldn't have any doubts about hiring a surgeon diagnosed with autism.
Migrates from a tranquil country life to join a lofty medical clinic careful unit. Alone on the planet and unfit to actually associate with people around him, Sean utilizes his unprecedented clinical gifts to save lives and challenge the distrust of his partners.
Show them. And analyzes things.
And now you want to be my friend. Which time was it that you were pretending?
It was found that many episodes of this TV medical drama deal with bioethical dilemmas in different scenarios. A total of 186 situations were identified in which a bioethical principle was involved. The ethical principle most often represented was charity, followed by non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice.
But what they don't teach us in medical school is there are so many ways to do harm.
An idealistic young doctor begins his first day under the supervision of a tough, brilliant senior resident who pulls the curtain back on all of the good and evil in modern-day medicine. Lives may be saved or lost, but expectations will always be shattered.
No.
Watch and learn.
Yes, did.
The rules that you
You got Conrad.
I need a new resident.
rules that you followed will break.
The Resident is a medical drama about the kinds of things that can happen behind the scenes at a major hospital. Devin Pravesh is a first-year resident at the fictitious Chastain Park Memorial, where he's paired up with difficult third-year resident Conrad Hawkins, a brilliant doctor who puts his patients first and hospital politics last.
Congratulations. You did it. You're here.
It's been 6 months.
It's been a very difficult 6 months.
A drama centered on the personal and professional lives of 5 surgical interns and their supervisors.
We didn't hire you for your grades, we hired you for your fight.
A clinical-based show revolved around Meredith Dim, a hopeful specialist and little girl of perhaps of the best specialist, Dr. Ellis Dark. All through the series, Meredith goes through expert and individual difficulties alongside individual specialists at Seattle Elegance Emergency Clinic.
Bring your kid to work day?
We finally have interns again.
The specialists of Dim Sloan Dedication Clinic manage critical outcomes consistently. It's in each other that they track down solace, companionship, and, now and again, more than fellowship. Together they're finding that neither medication nor connections can be characterized clearly. Genuine just comes in shades of dim.
Every time I go into a patient's brain to remove a tumor, there's a crucial moment when things can change very quickly.
The Specialist's Cut, delivered for Netflix by BBC Studios, is a docuseries where incredibly famous specialists discuss their lives, their persuasions, how they came to the strengths that they practice, and the momentous techniques they spearheaded. Through meetings and film of those systems, we find out about what propels these specialists to improve continually.
Suddenly I see myself as a samurai that is going them to fight hope when they external.
First up is Nicoletta, a pioneer in the field of fetal medicine, working at King's College Hospital in London. Over the past 3 decades, he's utilized ultrasound, tiny cameras and fiber optic-based lasers to treat fetuses in the womb. Since his procedures are endoscopic, the expectant mothers are awake and can watch the procedure on the screens in Nicoletta's lab.
Had an impact on.
Yes, it's an incredible thing she's doing for you.
I go in.
The Surgeon's Cut tries to humanize the surgeons who have pioneered amazing procedures, and for the most part, it succeeds in its mission. Could it be a little less laudatory? Absolutely. But the laudatory nature doesn't take away from the medical miracles they perform. Kim Sabu once acquired distinction as a top specialist at a tremendous clinic. At some point, he left the business, and presently he is a central specialist at Oldham Medical Clinic in the open country. After he led a fruitful procedure on Executive Shin, he will work on the medical clinic under solid help. However, at that point Executive Shin dies. New individuals show up and his understudies needed to leave the emergency clinic. Moreover, his wrist, which was harmed quite a while back, begins to act bizarre. All things considered, he goes to an immense clinic himself to tackle the labor deficiency at Oldham Emergency Clinic, where he finds 2 individuals who look like his previous understudies yet who appear to be significantly more deficient.
I don't know if any of you have what it takes.
Dr. Griffith.
Follows a capable yet smothered specialist who embraces her influential position after her eminent and bombastic manager falls into a state of insensibility.
Residency. You're here to earn your seat.
Commitment, brilliant doctor, courage. So if you are with me, let's get to.
You have to have open heart surgery tomorrow. Which Dr. Griffith do you choose?
Dr. Sam Griffith succeeds in her new position of authority as head of a medical procedure after her eminent supervisor falls into a trance-like state. At the point when her previous supervisor gets up months after the fact requesting to continue his obligations, Sam is entrusted with managing the selfish specialist who never recognized her heavenly ability. Matters are muddled further by the way that the acidic and haughty Dr. Ransack, Griffith likewise is her dad. As Griff resists Sam's position and difficulties her clinical skill, the central issue becomes whether this dad and little girl can at any point patch their own relationship as masterfully as they recuperate the hearts of their patients.
You're tremendous.
You can be the T-Rex dad.
Let this affect your confidence.
It's easy to say when he's not your father.
Are you more valuable than the person next to you? At the grown-up table.
It's when. Get the idea?
Me. Inspiring confidence, compassion, wisdom, and the meteorite.
Morning, boss. Getting to work bright and early? Lot of weaknesses. Pathologically arrogant.
Bright and early means arriving before the boss.
A profound roller coaster during that time today, disarray of the city's most unstable clinic, and the gallant group of specialists who maintain some kind of control. They will handle extraordinary new cases motivated by effective occasions, producing searing connections in the beating disorder of the trauma center.
He's back.
From Dick Wolf.
No crush injury. Let's go.
No pulse?
Clear.
Is your husband a doctor too?
Come on, Sarah, harder.
Come back to
Your baby.
I feel my.
You saved the girls.
The city's most exceptionally gifted clinical group saves lives, while exploring their extraordinary relational connections.
Come on,
A close-to-home roller coaster during that time-today mayhem of the city's most unstable emergency clinic, and the bold group of specialists who maintain some kind of control. They will handle exceptional new cases enlivened by effective occasions, manufacturing searing connections in the beating anarchy of the trauma center. The staff of the LA District Clinic Trauma Center treat patients under troublesome conditions.
Follow me and try not to kill anyone.
Where's your intern?
UCLA. Can't beat the tuition, right?
Well, no.
For occupant specialists and their partners make marvels as well as manage passing en route while keeping an eye on patients in a packed and understaffed clinic that needs adequate assets.
You are not, under any circumstances, allowed to kill a guest in my house.
This show depends on the honor-winning narrative of a similar name. This clinical show follows the staff in a very bustling trauma center as they adapt to a stunning measure of patience, which generally offsets the clinic's assets, bringing about a code dark.
X-raying him, put a cast on him.
Wait, where is X-ray?
That little thing wiggling around like a worm trying to get away? Okay, that's a carotid artery.
The specialists sure are occupied in the code dark trauma center. They're occupied quickly pressing each close-to-home button they can imagine in a fruitless work to make a convincing TV show.
Never lie to a patient again. She may be young, but she's entitled to the truth.
Hello, residents.
The series gives us the trauma center of a Los Angeles clinic, and it's a bustling spot. It's occupied to the point that it frequently needs to pronounce a code dark, a condition portrayed by an inundation of patients so incredible there aren't an adequate number of assets to treat them. A title card makes sense of before the massacre begins.
Do you remember me, sir? Look out!
A trauma center specialist, who escaped his local Syria to come to Canada, should conquer various impediments to continue a vocation in the high-stakes universe of crisis medication.
You were a trauma surgeon that was in Syria.
Got a trauma coming in.
Dr. Bashir Hamd, a magnetic crisis medication specialist, escapes war-torn Syria to fashion another life in Canada. He should retry his clinical preparation from the beginning. He scores a residency in the crisis division of the best medical clinic in Toronto, yet it's an extreme street. Will this relocate take?
I'm going to let you die here.
In this hospital, you need to be better than everyone else.
I can't visualize her cords. I don't know.
Got one of your own here.
He saved everyone in that restaurant before saving himself.
Indeed, Bashir is pretty clearly a specialist, one who is fight-tried and has preparing in field emergency and medicines. So for what reason would he say he is working in an eatery? At the point when everybody gets shipped to Toronto's best emergency clinic. The man whose head he penetrated ends up being Dr. Jed Priest, who is the top of the crisis division and a rock-solid doc who has no life beyond medication. The specialists, including clinical inhabitant Dr. Magali, Mags, LeBlanc, forceful careful inhabitant Dr. June Curtis, and pediatric inhabitant Dr. Theo Tracker, notice that every one of the approaching patients have had unrefined cures applied to them. Did Dr. Priest treat them prior to giving himself a burr opening in his skull?